All for coming. It was very hot in here when we started, but it seems to be much better now. Good morning. Good morning. Okay, we're going to talk to you about truth about global brands, and I know it sounds really huge, like we're going to tell you some major truth about global brands today and tell you something you've never ever heard before. But before we get into that, I just want to manage some expectations. Firstly, don't expect huge surprises. Look for things that kind of confirm your intuition about your feeling about what happens in this world and why things are going on the way they are. But before we get into this, we've done this in about 7-8 countries across the world. Everywhere we do this, the first thing we do is tell you a very short story about a very long journey. And that is the story about why this study happened. So about a couple of years ago, when we were in New York, one of our huge clients, big global client, asked our president, is there one point of view on globalization today? Is there one? Do you have one? I need to go and talk about it. We need to have a better understanding about what's going on in this world. Is that one point of view? And we looked everywhere. You know, we're a company of 23,000 people. When a president sends an email, I need a point of view, 23,000 people go everywhere looking for it, okay? We looked everywhere across the world, and the only thing we found was, even from the biggest research companies, the most recent point of view or research on globality or global brands was about 6 years old. So we felt that we need to go on this journey. I'm loud enough anyway. We need to go on this journey and find out something. So this is really the result of that. Like I said, it is our biggest study ever. It is 29 countries, 30,000 people. We talked to as many people as we could across the world, 30,000 of them, and we didn't just talk to them with questionnaires. We tried to talk to them in a variety of ways. Focus groups, ethnographies, the whole works. We didn't just talk to people. We talked to opinion makers. We talked to decision makers and shapers. Most importantly, how many of you here work for client organizations? How many of you here are marketers? Most of you. The CMO's job, we believe, is one of the toughest. And we talked to about 7 or 8 CMOs to find out what they're struggling with. And there's a little film we're going to show you that brings to life this whole point of view.
Fundamentally, my experience is you're living in a world of contradictions as a marketer. You've got to be, drive tremendous growth, but at the same time, you've got to do it in a sustainable way. You've got to be timeless, but you've got to be relevant. You've got to be great storytellers, but you've got to figure out a way to do it at scale, right? You've got to be at highest quality, but you've also got to do it with great efficiency and effectiveness.
Finding a global brand is a huge responsibility to make sure that the brand is conveying what its core values are and what its essence is in every single country appropriately, or in every single region, every single culture.
At the end of the day, you can be very data-driven, but you still cannot lose that emotional connection with the consumer. And I think that one of the things that's very, very important, particularly for this millennial generation, is it's going to be less about what you sell as a brand and more about what you stand for.
The mass commoditization that accompanies some forms of globalization, absolute consistency, becomes guaranteed mediocrity, becomes as interesting as a dial tone, because it's the same. Now, there is a portion of the consuming public that wants that consistency. It is shrinking, not expanding.
As you get more smartphone penetration in developing markets, is going to be not just your media budget, but how you allocate your